We live in an hour of complete hopelessness in our world. Our political landscape is a disaster of confusion, lies, envy, and self-seeking. And the Bible says that where there is envy and self-seeking, every evil thing will be there. Make sense? Now, our borders, they're unsecure. Our economy's tanking, prices of food are skyrocketing, and they're cutting down on the portions constantly. It's driving me nuts. Young people are dismembering themselves to change their God-given gender. Right now, the statistics are coming out that young men are more likely to commit suicide than young women. 14% of young women have experienced some form of sexual abuse. 60% of young people have persistent or consistent sadness. 18% of young people have a plan to kill themselves. All of this research just came out from the latest Barna Group study, which you can go and research at barna.com. Now, I want to get deeper into this today because the way to unleash our inner warrior is to bring out the value of hope, especially in such a hopeless time. And that's why I want to challenge our thinking to shift from hopelessness to viewing all of these things as disappointments and reframe them in our mind. Martin Luther King said, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." Now, there's this unbelievable story and experiment that was done to actually measure and try to get an understanding around the impact that hope can have on someone's life. So, of course, they went and they studied rats because those are comparable, right? And what they did is they had a bucket of water, and they would put the rat, who had never swam before, into this bucket of water, and typically, on average, the rat would last for about 15 minutes before they would succumb and get tired, and then they would drown. And so they did this several times. That was the amount of time that the rat could keep going. But then they tried this experiment of, they got right up to that 15-minute mark where everything seemed hopeless, and then the rat would start losing, their ability to get through this, start succumbing to the hopelessness. And then the scientists would grab the rat, pull him out, dry him off, rub him a little bit, give him a little love, just encourage him a little bit, just for a few minutes, and then they put the rat back in the water. That rat would last up to 60 hours after that moment of hope was injected into them. So more than 1,000 times what they were originally able to do, they were able to hang on for 1,000 times beyond that to go for over 60 hours of swimming. Friends, that is what one little moment of hope can do in our hearts. And Paul said to the Colossians that it's Christ in us who is the hope of glory. And that's where I want to ask you, what do you need as a moment of hope today? That little injection of hope that could keep you going 1,000 times longer than you ever thought you could, to swim that much longer. Because there's those around you who are looking for someone to stand up and have hope, because that is the value of the inner warrior. And hope will inspire those around you to believe and not quit on making this world a better place. A practical application for this for you today is to take some time, sit down with your journal, and really think, what are the hopeless areas in your life? Where are you believing that you don't have hope or that you can't overcome? What are the limiting beliefs that you actually are grabbing a hold of? Measure those, journal about those, think through those, and actually examine them, because when you look on the page and you see what you're writing, you'll be able to identify where you need to inject hope into it and believe for something better. And that is the practical application where you can inject God, the God of hope, Jesus, the King of the universe, into that situation and look at it and go, how would Jesus view that? How would God view that? How would He view that situation? And let that be the hope for you to bring on a new perspective so that you can unleash your inner warrior through the value of hope. We'll see you guys next week.